you're tuning into something different, something deeper. Welcome to a space where the unseen becomes seen, where the patterns beneath reality are decoded. This isn't just a podcast, it's a journey into the mechanics of belief, perception, and the multidimensional truths shaping our world. If you've ever felt like an outsider looking in, questioning the systems you're told to follow, you're in the right place. This is The Outcast, the Pattern Podcast. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into some pretty foundational ideas, really looking at how reality might work on a deeper level. We're using a source called Master Key Commentary on understanding the pattern.
Yeah, think of this as our attempt to really unpack the core insights from this commentary, focusing on this central idea of the pattern.
Exactly. We want to see how this pattern shows up, in navigating subtle energies and how we might consciously create things, even in how societies form.
Right. And what's really interesting about this source is its perspective. It's less about physical force and much more about frequencies, consciousness, and this term it uses, symbolic architecture.
Symbolic architecture, yeah. It suggests reality has these underlying layers. The commentary breaks it down into four main areas which seem connected: field tactics, manifestation alchemy, dreamtime navigation, and then building new civilizations from sovereign beings.
They sound a bit out there maybe, but as we dig in, you'll see how they all connect back to this core pattern.
So where do we start exploring this pattern? Which thread do we pull first?
Well, the commentary kind of sets it up nicely, starting with field tactics. This really frames how we interact with the world energetically. And the core idea is, well, it's pretty striking. The world is not fought with weapons. It is fought with frequency.
Fought with frequency. That immediately shifts things, doesn't it? It's not about brute force, but our energetic signature.
Precisely. And right away, it talks about guarding the first thought. The idea being that our very first initial response, that first thought that pops up when we encounter something, that's a key point of influence.
Like the entry point for external energy. If you walk into a tense room and immediately think, oh no, stress,
you've kind of already let it in.
Exactly. That first thought can set the tone. So guarding it, consciously choosing it, that's like your first line of energetic defense. Or maybe sovereignty is a better word.
Sovereignty, right. And that connects to the next point, operating below noise, which sounds like staying calm amidst chaos, non-reaction. Yeah, sort of maintaining your own internal coherence, your stillness, even when everything around you is turbulent, not adding your own reactive noise to the mix.
So you don't get pulled into the surrounding static, basically.
Which leads directly to this principle. Manage state, manage outcomes. It puts the focus squarely on inner mastery.
That makes intuitive sense.
Yeah.
If you're internally balanced and clear, the outcomes you experience are more likely to reflect that. The outer world mirrors the inner.
Absolutely. And a key practice for that is to pull attention inward. In a world that's constantly screaming for our attention, this is huge.
Right. Tuning out the endless external drama and focusing on your own center. The commentary suggests even being overly curious about negativity can drain you.
Yeah, it frames attention as this potent, energetic tool. Where you place it matters immensely. Direct it inward towards your core state.
It feels counterintuitive sometimes,
Yeah.
The urge is to analyze everything out there. But this suggests real power comes from that inner anchor. The example it gives about entering chaotic places.
Oh yeah, instead of putting up shields or bracing for impact,
You just radiate stability, a calm coherence.
Exactly. Because if your frequency doesn't match the chaos, it doesn't have anything to hook into, like tuning forks, right? No sympathetic resonance if the frequencies are different.
And it finishes that section saying something like, true tactical movement is felt, not seen, leaves no energetic fingerprints.
Yeah, it paints a picture of influence that's subtle, operating beneath the surface almost effortlessly, not leaving messy energetic trails.
Okay, so that's the energetic navigation piece. This then flows into manifestation alchemy, but the commentary frames it quite differently.
It does. It calls it field science, not wishful thinking. The core premise is that we can command reality through lawful resonance.
Lawful resonance, so not just wanting something, but aligning with specific principles, specific frequencies.
Precisely. It breaks it down. Thought is the initiation, the starting point. Emotion provides the charge, the energy. Resonance is the resulting magnetic quality, and action anchors it into the physical world.
Thought, emotion, resonance, action. A sequence. And it lays out some pretty strict rules for this alchemy.
It does, and this is crucial, no emotional contradiction.
Ah, that seems key. Your feelings have to match what you're thinking or wanting.
Absolutely. That's often where it falls apart, the commentary suggests. If you think you want abundance but you feel lack or unworthiness...
You're sending mixed signals? The frequencies are clashing, thought, emotion, action, vibrating differently?
Exactly. That energetic incoherence jams the signal. So the steps it gives are about achieving that coherence.
Feel as if it's already real. Think from that place of having it. Act in ways that align with it.
And importantly, anchor that vibration daily. Consistency matters. You keep reinforcing that desired frequency.
Right. And then this idea that reality will collapse other timelines to meet you there, that's quite a statement.
It implies the underlying field, the pattern itself, is responsive. It rearranges possibilities to match your dominant, coherent signal.
Which is a fascinating bridge to the next section, dreamtime navigation. And again, it reframes dreams significantly.
Yeah, it moves way beyond just, random brain activity during sleep. It calls dreamtime the architect's blueprint zone.
The blueprint zone, like where potentials are actually designed or coded.
That's the idea, a fundamental layer where futures are being shaped. It's not passive viewing, it's an active space.
And it draws a really important line between unconscious and conscious dreamtime.
Right. Unconscious is you might get pulled into other people's dream narratives, maybe even rehearsing their scenarios without realizing it.
That's a bit unsettling, the idea of being influenced on that level unknowingly.
It is, but the flip side is conscious dream time. That's where you can intentionally write your own codes, edit potential timelines, influence things from what calls the source layer.
So becoming lucid or aware in the dream state gives you agency in that blueprint zone.
Exactly. It's about shifting from being a passive character to an active author. The commentary even suggests setting dream commands before sleep.
Like the example, tonight I travel only in original signal. I script only sovereign potentials. Setting a clear intention for that state.
Yeah, extending that intentionality beyond waking life. And it emphasizes practices like conscious recall, obviously, but also symbol extraction.
Understanding the language of your dreams.
Emotional field decoding, sensing the energies in the dream, and distortion correction, like consciously clearing or adjusting things that feel off.
It really treats dreams seriously as field operations happening in astral substrata. Not random noise, but meaningful energetic events.
Precisely. Information-rich signals from a deeper layer of reality, offering insights into the patterns at play.
Okay, so if individuals can gain this level of awareness and agency in their energy fields and even dream states, that naturally leads to the bigger picture, building new civilizations from sovereign beings.
Yeah, and this offers a really different take on social change. It says, civilizations rise not from conquest, but from fields of coherent dreamers.
Coherent dreamers. So collective reality emerges from shared inner states, shared visions, shared frequencies, not just external force.
That's the core idea. It contrasts this with just protesting the old system. It emphasizes building new, energetic, and conceptual frameworks, a true revolution of consciousness, not just reaction.
And the foundation is these sovereign beings. How does it define them?
As individuals who don't need to control or enslave others, and crucially don't consent to being enslaved themselves, their power comes from inner authority and resonance, not domination.
Okay, and these new civilizations, they don't arise from mass movements necessarily.
Not in the traditional sense. It suggests they emerge from small, scattered, coherent fields groups or individuals holding a strong, clear frequency. These act like gravitational centers.
Attracting others through their signal, their resonance, rather than trying to persuade or force them.
Exactly. It's about signal integrity, not ideology or coercion. The foundations listed are things like resonant sovereign fields, shared frequency architectures.
Not rigid belief systems, but shared vibrational states.
Direct connection to source bypassing intermediaries and field authorship, meaning consciously creating reality, not just unconsciously repeating old patterns.
It's a vision of a more decentralized, empowered, interconnected society based on inner alignment.
It really is. Shifting from top-down control to networks of sovereign individuals resonating together, which brings us right back to the building blocks. Patterns, signs, symbols, the architecture of reality.
Because the commentary argues that our current reality is largely constructed and maintained through these, often subconsciously.
Right. It talks about symbols like ancient geometries, archetypes, even corporate logos or media rituals, how they anchor specific energies or fields.
And signs, things like predictive programming, foreshadowing, steering the collective subconscious in certain directions.
And pattern repetition, creating familiarity, reinforcing habits, normalizing certain narratives.
It's like we're swimming in this sea of symbols and patterns, often without realizing their effect.
Yeah, it says, you live inside a web of symbols unless you reclaim your gaze. That really highlights the need for conscious awareness.
Reclaiming your gaze, becoming aware of the symbolic landscape. How does it suggest we do that? How do we break the spell, so to speak?
Well, first, always question inheritance. Ask, where did this symbol or belief come from? Who taught it to me? What energy does this sign want me to adopt? Is this my knowing?
That critical inquiry into the origins and intentions behind the symbols we accept.
Then decode rather than consume. Look at everything. News, entertainment, advertising as code. Ask, what field is this trying to insert me into?
Shift from passive recipient to active decoder.
And third, crucially, refuse emotional reactivity, because that strong emotional hit can be an energetic hook, an unconscious contract.
So observe, witness, see it, but without letting it trigger that deep emotional reaction that pulls you into its field. Maintain neutrality.
Exactly. See without believing, witness without absorbing. And finally, the really empowering step. Create your own symbolic vocabulary.
Consciously choose or create symbols that resonate with your truth, your connection to source, and engage primarily with that self-authored reality.
Yeah, moving from being just a consumer of symbols to an active author of your own symbolic and energetic reality.
Wow. Okay, so bringing all these threads together, field tactics, manifestation, dream time, sovereign civilizations, symbols, it culminates in the final commentary. What's the core message there?
It's this powerful affirmation. You are already the next civilization. You are already the new architect. It ties our personal journey of awareness and sovereignty directly to the emergence of something new on a collective level.
So each person doing this inner work, becoming clear, sovereign, self-authored, they become a kind of energetic anchor point, a new gravitational center.
That's exactly the idea, that these individuals, just by being that different frequency, start to dissolve the old structures, not through fighting them directly necessarily.
But by withdrawing belief, resonance, and coherence from them. The old world collapses because it loses its energetic foundation, its believers.
Precisely. And it connects everything back: lucid dreaming, intentional manifestation, navigating energy fields clearly, living from... So these aren't separate skills. They're all expressions of the same underlying pattern: conscious creation.
Understanding and engaging with that pattern is key then. For personal empowerment, yes, but also potentially for how new societal forms might emerge.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our inherent capacity to interact with and shape reality at these fundamental levels: frequency, consciousness, symbol.
So the big takeaway for everyone listening seems to be this. You have this innate ability to shape your experience. It's not just random chance. It's about understanding and consciously working with these underlying patterns of energy and awareness.
Yeah, it shifts the perspective from being a passive observer to potentially an active participant, an architect even, which leads us to a final thought, maybe something to mull over. Consider, what signal are you currently emitting? What frequency are you broadcasting into the field around you? And perhaps more importantly, how might you consciously choose to author that signal moving forward?
Authoring your signal. That really ties it all together, doesn't it? This idea that, as the commentary suggests, you might be both the collapse of the old and the rebirth of the new all at once, just through the signal you choose to hold.